So my sixth and final tip on achieving equity in your gym or personal training studio is about getting educated. So equalize your skill set. Assume every course you've done has given you this much skills, and that much skills on the average man, the average man's height, the average man's femur length, the average man's age, right? And you've got to bring your education just up to speed with your female health understanding. Female health, femur size, female health, or average female's height, or average female's weight, okay? And you would do this for any group, okay? If you're working primarily with disability, people with disability, then you get educated on those disabilities and how they affect movement and what you're trying to achieve and your outcomes. If you're working primarily with the elderly, it's the same. You would do an older adults course and bring your knowledge up to speed. Now, unfortunately, women are still categorized as a niche or specialist group. And I just want to say again, we are not special populations. We are the population. So, like, whether you like what I'm saying or not, you have to understand that it wasn't even legislated that women be included in studies until the past, I think, 30 years. And even when women are included in studies, they're often a small group of a massive cohort. And because our results don't align with what they get with that massive cohort, we're often dismissed as outliers. So I'm not making a political point here. I'm making this is what you need to do if you genuinely have your female clients' best interests at heart and you want to bring your knowledge just on par with what you've got through your default training. So at IntoYou, it's a gym I used to work at on Sydney's Northern Beaches. They were not exclusive to women, but what they did understand was their training did not include large, good quality studies on women. So when I went and became a strength conditioning coach, at the same time I did a strength conditioning for women qualification. Our nutritionist didn't just study nutrition, she studied nutrition for women through the lifespan as well. And when we couldn't find education, we wrote it. Like our 6-step core restore your core and pelvic floor program, that was written in conjunction with local physios to give us a template of how we could bring women back up to the activities they love from core dysfunction, because such a large number of women had core dysfunction. Large numbers of men have inguinal hernias, right? So if I needed to, I could research inguinal hernias and get up to speed on that issue for men. But because a lot of our clients were women, we prioritized that and we just brought our knowledge up on par with what we knew about men's bodies. Now, it's just not good enough anymore to assume that women are just small men and you just adjust the weights and drop everything down and modify it and then make the machine smaller. It's not enough because we are quite different. We respond to intermittent fasting differently, and then differently again when we're menstruating, and then differently again in our follicular phase, and then differently again in the postmenopausal period. We respond differently to men with calorie restrictive diets, for example, with strength training. We respond differently. HIIT training, we respond differently. You've got different considerations when you're prescribing plyometric exercise. When you're periodizing programs, which just means spreading the intensity out over a period of time, our hormonal profiles will change in that time and will affect the outcome or the purpose of your training. So little things like understanding how that works means that you can train your female clients more effectively, right? Psychology is another one. We think different. Different things motivate us and different things demoralize us. So if you don't want to be a trainer who's demoralizing their female clients, okay, and this is probably not a conscious thing either. Many women feel like they deserve punishment. Many women feel guilty. Then you'll get educated and you'll plug that gap. And I also want to emphasize before I sign off for today that different or modifying does not mean less, okay? Different and modifying does not mean the woman is weak. It doesn't mean she's less able. This is another reason to get educated. It's a myth, all right? Once you're educated, you will be able to play to your client's strengths, your female client's strengths. And the same is true if you have someone with one leg or the elderly. You play to their strengths, you build them up, you give them confidence, and then you tweak it just a little bit. Throw a stick at it, I used to say. So feel free, as always, to offer me your feedback, and I will do my best to share the reasons why I've made these decisions. I've put a link in the notes, and I'll put a link in the bio on Instagram, just so you can read my references, okay? Just so you can see. I'm not making this shit up. I will see you all next week.